Imagine inheriting not a fortune, but a mountain of worthless junk, the kind that buries you in debt, dust, and despair. Your parents spent their windfalls on selfish hoards, leaving you to clean up the mess. But when one child decides enough is enough, the revenge is so clever, so calculated, it turns their legacy into a lesson they'll never live to forget. Get ready for a story of betrayal, burden, and brilliant payback. If you've ever felt the crushing weight of family selfishness or dreamed of turning inherited guilt into glorious justice, this story will fuel your fire. Hit that like button if you're ready for some serious revenge vibes. Subscribe for more tales of comeuppance that hit right in the feels. And let's uncover how one overlooked child flipped the script on greedy parents. I never thought my parents' deaths would feel like a starting line instead of an end. But after years of watching them squander everything, their money, their time, their love on meaningless crap, I reached my breaking point. The betrayal wasn't just in what they took from me, it was in what they left behind. A legacy of chaos that they knew would fall on my shoulders. And for the first time, I decided not to carry it quietly. Let me take you back to where it all started. I'm 35 now, a single dad to a 15-year-old son who's the light of my life. My parents split when I was 5, and from then on, our family was like two separate storms, chaotic, unpredictable, and always leaving destruction in their wake. Mom got a huge inheritance when her dad died 30 years ago. We're talking 7 figures, enough to set her up for life. Instead, she blew it on a sprawling 5-bedroom Victorian house that she and her new husband, now 74 and as frail as the antiques they hoard, filled with junk. Dusty vases, creaky furniture, endless knickknacks from estate sales. The place is a museum of uselessness, every room crammed so tight you could barely breathe. I'd visit, feeling the walls closing in, the air thick with musty old wood and regret. Mom would beam. Isn't it beautiful? All these treasures. But to me, it was a ticking time bomb of clutter. Dad's story was no better. When his dad passed 15 years ago, he got $800,000. At 50, he retired, code for gambling it all away at casinos. Hours turned into days, chips into empty pockets. Now he's scraping by on Social Security in a dingy duplex, surrounded by towers of vinyl records and 8-track tapes. Collectibles, he calls them, his voice slurred from cheap beer. I'd drop by, stepping over boxes, the smell of stale smoke clinging to everything. "Son, this is history," he'd say, eyes glazing over. History? It was a graveyard of bad choices. Growing up in that split world, I learned early to fend for myself. No safety net, no handouts. I worked odd jobs as a teen, put myself through community college, built a stable career in IT. My son? He's my priority. I swore he'd never feel the instability I did. But as my parents aged, the guilt started creeping in. They'd call, complaining about aches, bills, loneliness. "You're in charge of our estates," they'd say casually, like it was an honor. Me, the executor for both. Not my stepsisters or brothers, just me, the responsible one. The one they never helped but always expected to clean up. The injustice burned slow at first. I'd see Mom's house overflowing, Dad's duplex a fire hazard, and think, this is what they leave me? Work? They knew I had siblings, 2 stepsisters from Mom's second marriage, 2 brothers from Dad's flings, but no, I was named executor in both wills. The burden fell square on me. "Start unloading stuff now," I'd beg them. "I don't want this hassle when you're gone." They'd laugh it off. "Oh, you'll figure it out. It's valuable." Valuable? And not in my stomach tightened each visit. Mom's antiques were outdated junk, worth a quarter of what she paid, if that. Dad's records? Scratched, outdated, a dime a dozen on eBay. Selling it all would mean months of appraisals, auctions, fights with siblings over who gets what, banks to deal with, taxes, the emotional toll of sifting through their selfish lives while grieving, all while raising my son alone. The powerlessness gnawed at me. They lived for themselves, but expected me to pay the price. One night, after a call from Dad whining about his collection needing space, it hit me. The anger surged, hot and unrelenting. My hands shook as I paced my living room, heart racing. They don't care about the mess they leave, I thought, but I can make them care. The turning point came like a spark in the dark. If they wouldn't lighten the load now, I'd force their hand, in a way they'd never see coming. I started small, researching, quietly, estate laws, hoarding interventions, even local charities that take bulk donations.
But that wasn't enough. I needed them to feel the weight they were dumping on me, so I planned my revenge with the precision of a surgeon. Petty enough to sting, pro enough to change everything. First, Mom. I helped her by offering to catalog her antiques for insurance purposes. She loved the idea, more attention on her treasures. Over weeks, I visited, snapping photos, noting values from online appraisals, but secretly, I contacted antique dealers, estate liquidators, even reality TV shows about hoarding. One weekend, when she and her husband were away, I arranged a free appraisal day, inviting experts to her house under the guise of a surprise. They swarmed the place, pointing out the low values, the dust, the fire hazards. Mom came home to chaos, strangers poking her treasures, quoting pennies on the dollar. Her face crumpled, eyes wide with shock. "What have you done?" she whispered, hands trembling. I played innocent. "Just showing you the reality, Mom. If I have to sell this after you're gone, this is what it'll be like, but worse, with grief on top." The humiliation hit her like a wave. She spent days in silence, then started selling pieces herself. The house lightened, room by room. Revenge? Served with a side of help. Dad was trickier. His duplex was a vinyl vault, but he rented, so no house to sell. I knew his weakness, the casino. He'd blown his inheritance there, chasing highs. So I bonded over his collection, pretending interest. "Dad, these could be worth something," I said. Then I introduced him to online auction sites, but anonymously listed a few of duplicates he had. When he saw his own items selling for chump change, the reality sank in. "This stuff? It's not valuable?" he muttered, face ashen. The climax came when I accidentally forwarded him an email from a hoarding intervention specialist I'd consulted for advice. It detailed the legal risks, fire codes, eviction threats if the landlord complained. Dad panicked, sweat beading on his forehead. "I can't lose this place." He started purging, boxes to thrift stores, records to collectors. For the first time, he admitted, "I messed up, son. Didn't think about the burden." The payoff was glorious. Mom's house sold off antiques, downsizing to a condo, her choice, not mine. Dad's duplex cleared, his collection slimmed down to what he could manage. When they updated their wills, they named professionals as executors, sparing me the nightmare. The shock on their faces when I revealed my hand, "I did this to show you what you were leaving me," was priceless. Mom's eyes filled with regret, Dad's with shame. "We didn't realize," they stammered. My release came in waves, relief washing away years of resentment, triumph surging through me like electricity. Justice tasted sweet. In the end, revenge isn't about destruction, it's about awakening. My parents learned that selfishness echoes beyond the grave, and guilt can be a powerful teacher. If you're carrying family burdens unspoken, sometimes pushing back is the only way to set yourself free. If this tale of inherited chaos turned to clever justice fired you up, smash that like button and share in the comments, what's the biggest burden your family left you and how did you handle it? Subscribe for more emotionally raw revenge stories that prove karma always collects. Hit the bell so you never miss one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next payback.